Sixth day.
My favorite man, Arnie.
Get down. I've been working on my Arnold since the last video.
Fuck.
I was really upset.
Get down. This is a clown.
Excuse me?
Welcome back to the I'll See Myself Out podcast. I'm Ryan Patel.
I'm Dan Lisho.
I'm Norm Reynolds.
I'm Terry. Consider these your only warnings.
There will be foul language.
There will be spoilers.
And there will be foul language.
Now we're doing the most controversial cloning movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger has ever been in.
Hands down, my favorite part of this movie was how much fun Arnold looked like when he was playing against himself. He looked like he was having the fucking best time. Just like, It looked like he was really talking to himself. Like he was so into it, and I loved that. That made this movie enjoyable to me.
For the viewers at home, it's the sixth day.
Oh, we're talking about the sixth day.
This film has a really specific premise. I feel like there would have been must have been something in the news right around this time about cloning.
During the time that there was a issue in, I think it was Korea or North Korea, where they were claiming that they cloned a person.
Okay, this film was definitely centered around what seemed like a very specific controversy for that period of time. I definitely had a difficult time picking up on the core premise of anything specific in this movie, except for what the background idea of the ethical story is. The whole idea being that this pilot gets tangled in basically a bit of almost like a corporate espionage / law breaking scheme where people are being secretly cloned.
The written premise of it is that this corporation is trying to take over the world with clones. I didn't really see that in the movie. They were trying to get to a point. It was almost like clones were fighting for clone rights without being legal yet. They were trying to get enough people to be clones so that they could change the laws and clones could exist as real people.
Well, that was the whole repet thing.
Yeah.
It was supposed to soften people up.
To me, this movie felt like it was about something that it didn't mean to be about, and it was more like a group of people who weren't acknowledged as people were fighting for their right to exist.
It's weird because there's so many better angles to have in the story of this movie than the one that they chose to come at the topic of. And I think it was they got through most of the movie and realized that they hadn't discussed almost anything meaningful. And that's when later on in the film, Arnold's character speaks to the corporate CEO's character in one of the final scenes, and he actually lays out the whole idea. But most of the movie leading up to that, it's almost like they tried to set up the story so that people watching the movie could relate to how they would get involved in something publicly and politically challenging. But the whole film, there's all these action scenes, these weird misdirection scenes. But at the end of the whole thing, I kind of felt like it accomplished nothing. It didn't even really answer any seriously ethical questions, other than maybe the subplot of Robert Duvall's wife. It almost could have been this allegorical discussion on healthcare or beauty products or something more relevant as a discussion topic, but it just became so convoluted in the way I saw it that I kind of felt like they could have made a better point, but they just didn't.
Yeah, and the one that I had beef with and didn't fully understand also was the clones themselves pre-incubation.
The blanks?
The blanks.
The XXL fetuses, yeah.
What if they had to clone a child?
Put them in the dryer, shrink down a little bit.
Not a cotton sweater, dude.
Can I get this fucking question out, boys?
Yeah.
Are those blanks already genetically most of the way there for each individual person, or are they full blanks and they're just injecting DNA? Because I'm pretty sure that's not how genetics works.
It's the genetic human genome to a point, and they splice in the specific stuff is how they explain it.
Yeah, but how does that account for height? Do they shrink afterwards? If how do you remove material after
With a scalpel.
It seems really unusual. It just the whole thing just seems made up. And I know it's supposed to be fiction, but it seems deep on the side of fiction.
Well, your genetics also tells you how long your bones are going to be.
Right. It's an early development inclusion. So unless they're including that at the end is it's not the sauce you drizzle on top. Important disclaimer. None of us are doctors or scientists.
Very true.
And only one of us has managed to create another human being twice. Which makes you a bit of a scientist?
I'm semi-cloned.
You're like a myth buster.
I love how we have to tell people, our audience, oh, we're not scientists and we're not doctors. They fucking know.
I mean, do they though? Because when they look at me, they 100% think medical professional
What, could work here?
will ask him for advice.
I think they think more like definitely dominatrix.
Yeah, we were talking about what the default human would look like without any like ethnic or carried on DNA.
I think it's a single cell.
I think it's Mark Zuckerberg without hair.
When Arnie goes in for the first test, the eye test, the vision test, both pilots get that test. Almost like they knew they were going to switch places, even though they didn't know they were going to switch places.
Every single person who might have anything to do with this person's life get cloned. That way they can die and maintain the continuity of him being cloned again.
Also, how do you clone? How do you test? Because it was under the guise of being like an eye test or a drug test, right? How do you drug test or test one pilot but not the pilot that he works with? And because you're sticking your face inside of like 2 ice cream scoops and then you're walking away, I'm pretty sure they're like, all right, just take his 2.
You know, I also think like as a pilot, you've probably had some vision tests before.
Yeah, but your vision can slip.
No. What I'm getting at
you mean like
is the
I've never-
method. You know, usually I look at a chart. Are you sure this is like you're gonna flash my eyes and like what are you like looking for how long it takes to bounce back?
Looks like this is causing damage.
Maybe this is a good time for me to bring up the next thing, which was that the things that I liked the most about the movie were also the things that took me out of it and made me like it the least too. 2 things. One, how like into his role Arnold was, but like it was so opposite what I feel like I normally see him as a character on screen that I was like, I didn't know if he was actually acting or not. The other thing that ties into what we were just talking about without having to go too deep into it was just trying to express to the audience like how futuristic it is. Just like the jets being super like cool and futuristic and football being the XFL at that point. But other things too, like the weird holographics.
Oh, the creepy sex chair.
We got to talk about that fucking doll at some point because that was pure concentrated nightmare fuel.
Oh.
What's your name?
I don't know why that was included, but that really that was one of those things like it's in the future. This is what toys are going to be like for kids in the future, which I'm really glad it's never gotten there because I swear to God, if I ever see fucking children walking around with Android toys that do shit like that, man, am I going to have a panic attack.
This was my beef with that doll. It seems like the tech involved in turning it off is somehow tapering off the amount of power that's going to it, which is why the voice was like, I love you. Like, what the fuck was that?
I think the thing that fucked me up so much about this doll wasn't just that they were trying to make it really human, but it was the way that like the facial and body movements never matched up really with the words it would say. So it was just like this disembodied face kind of like moving to the sounds of a child voice. So I wish that I could never remember that or just somehow unsee it, but we're here now.
I'm going to build one and then put it in your bedroom while you're sleeping and just have it talk to you.
Calling your bluff.
I'll make one. Oh, I will.
All right, that'll be featured on episode 24 of I'll See Myself Out.
Yeah.
And it'll be replacing Terry. He's just talking through Cindy with a fucking walkie-talkie.
Cindy's talking through him.
That actually made my belly upset when you said that. I don't know why. That upset me so much.
It gave me Chucky flashbacks as a kid.
Is that like the thing that he's got sitting in the corner of every room in the house?
Yeah, there's like this stuffed doll that I don't honestly just showed up one day. I don't know where it came from.
Fuck you. You know exactly where it came from, you asshole.
It doesn't have a face. It just has like hands like stitched to where his face would be. And the idea is it's supposed to be like in the corner or like in timeout or something. Probably some weird shit like that.
We need to bring in Norm's timeout doll for one of these episodes.
I haven't seen it in a while actually.
By the way, what's with the bootlegger bottle? I feel like I'm just walking through a field.
You feel like you're walking right now?
That doll 100% explains only like a little bit of what's wrong with you, but it does at least start to explain the problem.
People ask me if I have a problem with alcohol, and I say, no, I have a problem with Norm.
Let's move past the creepy fright fuel that is this doll.
What movie are we talking about right now?
6th Day.
Oh my God, what time, how long have we been doing this?
Can we just quickly discuss his partner's hologram girlfriend masturbation chair?
Where it feels like it's grabbing for a zipper.
Yeah, but apparently somehow the hologram can make you feel like somebody's grabbing your dick.
Well, that head system comes over top, and I think it basically connects with his neural network and tells him what he's feeling.
What, horny radio waves go through the fucking headpiece?
Yeah, you feel like you'd need like a direct connection, but somehow it's like just like proximity based.
Of the things in this movie, that's closer to the believable side. If I took all the things in this movie and I had to split half of them into believable and not believable, it would fall on the believable side.
There's enough creepy perverts out there that would actually make that a reality.
Porn's like an industry trendsetter. I'm pretty sure that's what started Blu-rays and DVDs as like, because everybody just needs more high definition porn.
Yeah, and we're not even on the dark web.
So what did you think of the movie? Just general idea of what you think about it.
I couldn't really get into it. Like I think I wanted to, some part of me wanted to, too, because I just remember it from my childhood. And I remember when I tried watching it the first few times and being so young, I thought like, this is super cool. But after you get through like 2/3 of the movie, it just really goes off the rails in a way that like I can't get behind. But I guess like it's nice to see Arnold happy. Overall, would I say that I liked this movie? I would say no. I wouldn't recommend it. There's a lot of other better ways to hurt yourself.
If you're a little short on your Arnold Schwarzenegger quota and you haven't seen this one yet, I would say go ahead and see it.
It's on the B list of Arnold hits.
Most of his movies are.
There's no way to talk about Arnie.
I enjoyed the scenes where Arnold was rolling around with himself like a teenage girl at a frosh party. It was enough for me to enjoy the whole film. Just how happy he was. I want to be that happy. Overall, I'm pretty happy, but like that level is like, how do you get there?
I would hate if they cloned you. I think my favorite part of this movie is how tough Terry Crews is trying to be.
Oh my God, I forgot he was in there.
It's hard to imagine him doing anything other than liking yogurt and being a sergeant.
Oh my God, I completely forgot about the scene where he shoots the guy's foot off in the underground.
It's just gone.
That is used as the most iconic scene of bad horror movies where they shoot the guy's leg out and he just screams.
I mean, Battlefield Earth had some pretty great shots. It would have been pretty cool if this movie were a prequel to Battlefield Earth. Sorry, I think I just ruined Norm. I'll see myself out.
How well do you think the show would do in the dark web?
We would look like the Disney Network.
Well, so I think we should go there because there's some people that are like, they may be curious about the dark web, but they're not as curious as they thought they were. So maybe they'll just like, I'll stick to the light dark web stuff.
I don't think I need one more thing in my life that I want to unsee.
It's the most real shit you've said in a while.